To replace your Allegro 2 rolling wheels, you will need a yoga block, a paper clip, a knife or something to cut with, and these 3 tools that come with your kit.
Hi folks, this is Ken from BB Garage. Today we're going to show you how to replace the wheels on your carriage. So if your carriage starts to sound like this, it may be time to replace your wheels. And so we're going to talk about replacing the wheels, but first, in order to do that, we need to take the ropes off, take the end casting off, and then pull the carriage out, flip it over, and then do the work. So let's begin. First step, most of you know this, you pull these apart right here, take the straps out, take the loops off the straps. That's done. Then you can pull this out like this, pull it through. That's done. We'll do the other side. Next step, just take this thing on and then compress that knot, pull this out. That's done next. All right. The next step, after we get rid of this, is we're going to lift the carriage up, lift the frame up and slide a box underneath it to make removing the carriage a lot easier. So how you do that is it's a 2-hand and 1-leg operation. You lift this up here, you slide this in like this, you drop this down like that, and now you're ready to take the end off. Okay, so let's start by taking off the end casting. What we did after we slid the box under with the protective covering on top of the box, which is important, we also added a couple of catalogs, but if you put something in there that's about this thick, right underneath this track, right down here, on top of between the box and the reformer, it'll give you a little bit more clearance to pull the carriage out. Okay, so the next step is we're going to remove the casting. Now there's going to be 4 bolts that are going to hold the casting on the reformer. So there's one right here where I'm trying to point to right here. There's one right above it up here, right? And we're going to start by just loosening those bolts with this wrench. And then once we get them a little bit loose, we're going to just try and unscrew them with our fingers. So let's go at it. So this wrench fits right in there. I'm going to try and do this with my other hand so you can see this. If it's on the nut, you want to take them off by going counterclockwise. Or I guess for some of you it's called anti-clockwise. Loosen that. And then usually once you get just a couple of turns in there, it's really easy to take these bolts off like this. So I'm going to now loosen all 4 bolts. And then this has this really kind of cool cock in it so you can get in there to get that top bolt. And this one I'm going to actually have to be able to see in order to take off. And I like to actually just reach in there with my hands and then start the process. Okay, so I got a couple of half turns on this top one. Now I'm going to see if I can get it loose, maybe a little bit more. And I'm going to do all 4 of these bolts. I'm going to loosen them all, and then I'm going to spin them off, and then after that, I'll pull off the end casting. Let's see here. Whoops, helps if you get this thing right on there here. Nope, I can't see it. I'm going to have to get underneath here where I can see it. And this will make it a lot easier. There. Give it a couple of turns, and now I can pull these guys right off. But I'm not going to take the end casting off. Now, be careful at this point, because when this nut comes off, you don't want to drop it on your eyeball, right? So make sure your head is not underneath the nut. That's one. Then I'll reach up here and get the second one. And then after I get this one off, I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to do the 3rd and 4th ones. Actually makes it pretty simple. And we're almost there. And now I make sure I don't drop it in my eye. Good. Okay, we're going to go to the next 2. I'm going to scoot over there so I can get a good view on it this time. I'm going to take off these bolts. Same drill. You want to go counterclockwise with them. Okay, now I'm going to just get in a better place right now. I'm going to slide this off using a little bit of jiggling here. That was pretty easy. I'm going to let this down gently so I don't scratch it and move it out of the way a little bit. Okay. And then my next thing is I'm going to pull the carriage off. Maybe I should have put one more. Oops, that didn't work. Okay, let's start that over again. I didn't clear. So one of the miracles of doing stuff on video is you do stuff on video that you did before on a workbench out in the shop. So we tried sliding these magazines underneath there to see if that would give us enough elevation so we could clear the box. It didn't work. And so what we did is we lifted up the frame a little bit more and we put these yoga blocks underneath there. So if you could lift the edges of the frame about 2 inches or about 5 centimeters, that's perfect. And that gives the carriage clearance to pull it off. So now I can pull this off really easy. It's on there. And I'll take the carriage and I'll put it on the frame sideways so now that we can work on it. Oops, move this over a little bit more, and we'll lower it, and we are good to go. All right. So everything that you need is going to be inside this box. We'll take this out. You'll see what's in there. Cut it, open it, and we'll pull this back a little bit. You first got your instructions. Very cool. You've got your Allen key, which is going to be for the bolt that takes off the wheels. You're going to have the wrench for taking off the end casting, right? And then farther in here, we've got one more little wrench in here. We're going to find out for that in a minute what that's here. And then we've got your cool new wheels in here. And you'll see that the wheels come complete with not just the new wheels, but inside the new wheels, it's got the new bolts and all the appropriate washers or the lack of the washers that you will no longer need. So now we're going to start putting these guys on, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so let's talk about the differences between the two wheels. This is the old black wheel. The old black wheel has the button head nut here. It's got a washer on the inner side here, then the wheel, then you have another washer, and then the nut. We're going to lose this wheel, we're going to lose the bolt, we're going to lose the washer on the underside. And when we go to the new wheel, which is simply just this flathead bolt, there's no washer in between here at all. This goes onto the reformer. There is going to be a washer that's going to go between the wheel and the reformer carriage, and then you tighten the nut. That's it. So to remove these wheels, it's actually pretty simple. You've got a wrench and you've got your Allen key, right? What you want to do is on the inside of this wheel here, there's a nut. You want to grab that. Then with your Allen key, and I'm doing this in a weird angle because I want you to be able to see it on camera. You basically, in a counterclockwise way, be careful not to scratch the Allegro, and you get a couple of turns here, and it's all it takes. Sometimes you don't even have to use the wrench on the inside. And I got my finger in here just to catch this, because again, when this gets done, I'm holding my finger on the nut on the inside, unscrewing this by hand. And then you've got this nut here, which we're going to use, right? And this is the old wheel and the old nut. And you don't want to use the wheel, you don't want to use the bolt, and you don't even want to use the washer underneath this bolt head, okay? You'll notice that this is a pan head or button head screw. We don't want to use it, okay? So basically this whole thing is curtains, right? The new wheel is really simple. It's got this flathead screw, which looks kind of weird, but it works really, really good. And you've got a nut. So get rid of this nut here. You've got a new nut, and you've got a washer in there. And what's going to happen, and this is really important, the order of operation here, is we're going to take the nut off, put that there for right now. It's got a washer inside here, which I'm trying to get off so I can show it to you. This washer stays here. This little washer here stays. And there's no washer underneath this flathead screw. The flathead screw just goes in through here. you have the washer on the inside only, right? Then it goes back onto here, into the wheel. And again, I can't see the hole. Then you put the nut on the inside, the new nut that we gave you. So you're using a new bolt, a new everything here. And I'm going to have to reorganize myself to get up here. Sorry about that, but we'll see. And then it's a little bit tricky here to get this nut in here because there's not a lot of space in here. But with 2 fingers, you can get it in there. And once you get it onto the nut, 2 fingers there, I can feel the nut. I'm going to get the nut started. Now, on that nut, and I'll show you in the other one, it goes on, so the flange on that nut goes against the metal, okay? Oops. This should be a lot easier, but it is. Okay. So now I'm just going to tighten this by hand. And now I got as tight as I can. I'm just holding the nut in there. And because of the way that nut's designed, you sometimes don't even need a wrench on the inside here. So we'll stick this guy in here. And right now I can feel the nut turning, so I'm going to put the wrench on it. There we go. Being careful not to smack this into the frame. Give us a good tighten. It's good. Everything works good. There's clearance. This wheel's done. I've installed 3 wheels. Now I'm going to do this last one. Here you go. Here's the close-up. Usually you can just use the wrench to loosen it. If you tighten this and you can't get it loose and the nut on the inside is turning, you can put this wrench on the inside and start loosening the screw. It's usually pretty simple. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take this out. I captured the nut. I'm going to get rid of all this stuff because I don't need it anymore. Now I'm going to put only the bolt through the wheel. I'm going to leave 1 speed washer on the inside. I'm going to put it back into here. And then I'm going to take the special nut. I'm going to put it on the inside like this. And I'm just going to feel it on. If I could actually look if I wanted to, but I think I'm pretty good at feeling it in there. There we go. Oops, I missed it. There we go. Finger tighten it. And the cool thing with these flange nuts is that often you don't even need the wrench on the inside. I'm putting my finger there. I'll put this in here like this. It's tight. Check it. It's quiet. It's not scraping. Bingo, it's done. So we've got all the wheels on now. We're ready to put the reformer back into the frame and put the end casting on. So first thing we'll do is we'll make sure that we have no more debris that's going to fall off and make loud noises. We're going to lift the carriage up, but be really careful because if I turn this carriage all the way over on the frame right now, it's going to scratch the frame. So past this point, I'm going to lift it up. Okay, walking over without tripping on stuff. And you want to put the wheels in right on the inside of the bolts that stick out. All right, and here we go. All right, so making sure all this stuff is out of the way. It looks good so far. So far it looks good. I'm going to let it go. I'm not going to go let it fly because it'll crash. And now we've got this part done. I'll come back to this in a second here. Okay, the next step is the end casting. So, grab the end casting, slide it into place. You want to make sure that these 2 little pins on each side go into the 2 little indicators here. The bolts come through the holes that go into the end casting. So let's see how good of a shot I am here. I'll line up one side. I'll line up the other side. That was a piece of cake. All right. So sometimes you got to jiggle a little bit. Sometimes you got to lift one side up or the other, but that's it. So now I've got my 4 bolts left. I'm going to reach underneath, and instead of talking and trying to feel around inside there, I'm actually going to lie down in here and talk to you from this position here. We're going to put the nuts on here, starting with our fingers right here. I usually put them down as far down as I can with my fingers before I even put a wrench onto it. And it just makes it easier. You should be able to start these things really easy with your fingers. And it's always a good idea to do it because you don't want to cross-thread it, okay? So, there we go, okay. So I'm just running it down with my fingers. When I get to the end, I'm going to jiggle this a little bit just to make sure. And now that I got one on there, it's really good too, because now I don't have to worry about the whole thin casting coming off and hitting me in the face, which would be bad, right? So again, make sure I get this on square. You can tell when you got it on right, and it just goes on really easy with your fingers. Little jiggle. I'm going to do the other ones now. First, I'll start with the bottom one. It's probably off camera. I'll probably speed this up. And the next one. Again, make sure you get it on there good. If it's not going on easily, it's probably not going on straight. So you want to make sure, and you just kind of feel your way around there. Sometimes it helps to reverse it just a little bit till you grab the threads. Okay, so now I'm going to tighten these guys. This wrench is really handy for fitting in here. Okay, and I probably could have gotten this one a little bit tighter with my fingers, judging by how many times I'm tightening it right now. And how I'm doing this is I'm lifting it off the nut, and then I'm pushing it back down with my left hand. Oops, came off. Make sure I get it back on there again. I feel it's starting to get tighter. All right. That one's tight. Now I'm going to go back, get this with my fingers because now it's looser. Now I can go back and tighten it. That one got tightened really fast. Now I'll go back to these guys here. I'll just go to this first one, tighten it. And I'm just putting, moderate pressure on these guys. I'm not like really cranking them really hard, right? No sense in killing it. And this one works better if I turn the wrench around, it feels like. Oops. And it looks like one more time, and I've got it. All right, this baby's on. Okay, so now we got the end casting on. We need to put the ropes back in. If you take the little tiny lanyard thing off the rope to get it in the hole here, it can be kind of a hassle to get in here. We have a little bit of a trick here. We're going to take a big paper clip here. We're going to unfold it here and fold it again. And we're going to leave a little bit of a bend in it like this, right? We're going to put the rope in like this. Whoop. And then we're going to stick this in like this so that it comes out behind the pulley, right? And then we're going to grab the wires that comes through here. Maybe a little bit more bend on it here so we can get it a little bit easier. We'll hook it in like this, behind. Here's the wire. We'll grab it. I got the wire now, and I'm going to pull it through. And as I pull it through with the paper clip, I'm going to push the wire through and then yank it. There you go, okay? That's one. We'll do the rope thing. Remember, this goes through here like this. The little loop goes to the big loop. The little loop goes over here. That's done, all right? So for easy, let's try this one more time. Now, if you lose your little clippy thing, you're in trouble. I found it. Okay. Let's try this again. We're going to take the big paper clip. We're going to bend it like this a little bit, right? We're going to put this around the rope. You could probably do this with a clothes hanger too, but the paper clips seem to work really good. We're going to go underneath the pulley, around, and then we're going to get the wire. Here's the wire. I'm going to pull the wire. There we go. And now I got this. Take this guy off, make my life easier. Don't lose them. Pull this thing through. A little bit of force. We'll grab our rope in here, through here. Both the big loops go through, like this. Whoops. Now we've got it beautiful. All right. The last step is we got everything done. We made sure not to cross the ropes. You don't want to do that. Now we're going to take the reformer off the box, lift it up. Ta-da!